right, welcome to a very special The Daily Stampede USF all-time all-position draft. We have a lot of time on our hands, and we have 4 GMs, 4 very special gentlemen, who are going to make their picks for their all-USF unit, coaching staff, quarterback, specialist team. So, Seth, I give it to you. Explain the rules, explain our GMs, and let's get this thing rolling.
All right, so we have 4 fine gentlemen as GMs / athletic directors of their own team. Basically, the idea behind it is we're going to do a draft. Every person is going to select one particular position group from one particular USF season, starting with 2001 season all the way through now. So they'll pick their position. Once that position group is picked, they're done, and we're just going to kind of see who can build the best team. We also include coaching staff, so you have to pick a coaching staff, and so that'll be the scheme you're playing with. So you got to kind of fit all this stuff together, and that's pretty much it. These guys are going to kind of get to go back to USF football history a little bit, and maybe bring up some names we haven't talked about in a long time, and that would be I think it'll be a fun exercise, just as we're all starved for any kind of sport content right now. So we'll start with Robert Steeg. What's your kind of draft strategy going into the night?
Yeah, so we did a lot of research on this team, on this university. We looked through the entire history, and we were disappointed to say the least. But we'll make do with what we have here. I think there's a lot of really good parts for the system that I'm trying to run. It's all hinging on, can I get this very particular coaching staff for a very particular year? If I can get that coaching staff, then we're set. If I don't get the first round pick in that round, then my chips are going to be stacked. But I'm confident going into this. I have a good strategy. I have a good underdog picks coming up. I don't think anyone's going to pick anyone that I have right now.
Bold strategy. All right. Next we have Ryan Smith. Ryan, what is your strategy going into tonight? What are you hoping to accomplish?
I have one very clear strategy for tonight, and it's only pick players from teams who have won conference titles.
I got something to tell you, friend.
Wait, what?
You know what? Moving on.
This is like when the Vikings skip their pick.
Wait, you're gonna
rush up
from
to
the future?
stage.
All right, next up we have Nathan Bonds. Nathan, what are you hoping to get tonight? Anything in particular, or do you not want to give your strategy away just yet?
I think the overall strategy is, for any team, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a team. And throughout the history of USF, there's about 3.5 good quarterbacks. So I think we may see quarterbacks go off the board early here. We'll see what happens. That first pick's going to set the tone. So it'll be exciting to see, who hits on their first pick and who just completely messes up the rest of their draft.
And last but not least, we have Collin Sherwin. Collin, you've done a lot of preparation for this. You were telling us you've been poring over the data. What is your strategy going into tonight?
Seth, I have poured over the data for literally several minutes now, and I am humbly and capably prepared. I'm going to weigh factors such as players I had classes with when I was an undergrad, kids who I worked with when I was working in the athletic department, kids I've covered and interviewed who I thought were particularly nice, and other things such as my favorite coaches to go out and drink with. So these are going to be things that I'm going to factor in heavily into my decision making as to how to build the ultimate USF team that would fall short in a conference championship.
There we go. All right, so now all these men are dressed to impress. They're all ready to go. So we will start with the draft lottery.
This is big.
This is huge, folks.
This is huge.
I can't wait to
This might be everything.
There we go. Randomized.
Is everyone all right? One ball apiece. Everyone's
one ball each.
Correct.
Let's go.
That's unfortunate.
Here we go. With the who has the fourth pick? Let's see. Nathan has the fourth pick.
Sorry, Nate. Sorry, Nate.
Hate to see that.
The third pick, Steeg.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Third pick in round one.
Standing next to Adam Silver, baby. Let's go. Let's do this.
They were two. The
God
second
damn it.
pick
My
goes
strategy.
to Collin. That
the
means
dream lives on.
That means with the first pick in the TDS USF draft, Ryan T. Smith.
Whew.
All right.
Where's the frozen envelope?
This is bullshit. Somewhere in
I'm so
Atlanta.
upset right now.
God damn.
This is horseshit.
So there's your
All
draft
right,
order.
Just plug in Quentin Flowers now.
The rules of the draft are as follows. So here's the draft board. Each participant, just while everyone while the participants get their draft boards finalized and ready here, we have the position groups. Quarterback. It's really going to be singular quarterback. Just so to explain that to everybody, it's going to be a singular quarterback. So if somebody picks Quentin Flowers, they can pick the season if they want. Let's say 2016 was a pretty good year. If they pick that, Quentin Flowers is off the board for all his seasons, so nobody else can pick Quentin Flowers. Also, so that's the only kind of singular position. Everything else is going to be kind of by committee. So backs, wide receiver, and tight ends are grouped together. Offensive line is grouped together. Defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs. Specialists, this will be kickers and punters together. And then coaches will be the coaching staff from that particular season. So this will be the scheme you are running. So you may not want to put a dual threat quarterback into a 2001 system and so on and so forth. So Ryan had the first pick. So Ryan, what is your first pick going to be?
Ooh, this is going to stun some folks out there. I think I will be taking with the first pick of the Daily Stampede USF Historical Draft the 2016 quarterback unit consisting of Quentin Flowers and probably somebody else.
Whoa. Let me act shocked for a second.
No disrespect
All right.
to Brett Keane.
So
That means I'm
2016
next.
quarterbacks are taken. So Collin, you are next. What is your pick in the first round here?
I think Steeg's going to be happy about this. I am not going to make, I think, the pick that a lot of people would make here. I'm going to take 2002 Marquell Blackwell.
Ooh, that's nice.
Damn you, Colin.
Oh, you thought you were sneaking in there? Hell no.
God.
Remember,
So we've seen two quarterbacks go off the board. Steve, you are up next.
I'm actually gonna shock the world on this one. I put up a smoke screen. You guys thought that I was gonna hinge my entire offense around a quarterback named Quentin Flowers. We're not. Not at all. Give me, in the third pick of the Daily Stampede Historical Draft, give me the 2016 running back unit.
It's a good pick. You can't argue with it.
Yeah, it's a good.
A lot of diamond formation.
Love that offense.
All right, so with the last
good.
pick of the first round,
Now,
Nathan will have back-to-back
Seth, I want to be clear here.
Yes.
We are assuming health, correct?
Assuming health. Yes. So if somebody had a nagging
All right.
injury for most of the year, let's assume their health.
Or
I think it makes it more interesting.
Say a quarterback towards ACL 3 games into the season.
Who could
I
you
remember
We're
where I
assuming
was
health
for
here,
that.
right?
Assume health.
So with that pick, I'm going to take the 2009 quarterback unit consisting of Matthew Grothe and BJ Daniels.
There you go.
And then-
solid pick. All right, so hold on. Let's talk about round
for-
one. Can we talk? Well, let's talk about round one real quick. Everyone, kinda,
Absolutely.
Let's go around the horn here. We'll start with the first pick, Ryan. What were you kind of? Go ahead and kind of take us through your thought process.
So our
It's
thought
pretty
process here with this
self-apparent,
pick, our thought process here with this pick was very complicated. We were really trying to get Quentin Flowers. And so what we were able to do out here was go and get Quentin Flowers. And so I think that we have to consider that a success.
Good
That's
process,
a good process,
good result.
There
Can't
you
complain.
go. All right, so Collin, let's go ahead and let's talk about your pick here. You went
So it's
early time, 2002.
So for me, it's either BJ or Marquell. I don't think that's, and certainly there's some growthy in there as well. I like Nate's ability to split there. But I just, for the way that I'm setting up the kind of direction that I want to go, I just think Marquell is a slightly better fit for the direction that we'd like to go as a franchise. So that's why we're doing it that way.
All right, Steeg, you're up next.
Yeah, I mean, this one is pretty straightforward. I think that the way that I'm trying to build my offense right now is it's going to be hinged around the running backs unit. I realize that most people are going to be going in the spread style of offense, and frankly, I'm not here for that. I don't want that in my system. I want a good power running game. You get guys like Marlon Mack, Dearness Johnson, and Darius Tice all available in this offense. I think that is the most dynamic unit. You can pound the rock all day with that.
And finally, wrapping up the first round was Nathan.
All right, so it was, I got my third choice. It's not a bad choice, assuming health. With that 2009 quarterback unit, you're getting almost 2,000 yards from a redshirt freshman, BJ Daniels. Assuming health, Matt Grothy's, he had completed 72% of his passes up to his injury. I think there's a lot of room for growth here, and you'll see with my next pick why this excites me so much. I can't wait to see what happens next.
All right, we got to
go.
Let's go faster.
Since we're snaking here, Nathan, you have the first pick of the second round.
All right, so with the first pick of the second round, I will be taking the 2015 coaching staff.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Interesting.
All right. So next up, we have Steeg. Going in reverse order.
Oh, we're going reverse. I did not expect that, to be honest, at all. Good thing that good thing the unit that I needed is available right now. Like I said, we're building up front first. I know this is going to be a hot commodity pick later on in the draft, so I'm going to go ahead and the second pick of the second round, I'm going to go ahead and take the 2004 offensive line.
All right.
I guess I am up. Yeah, I guess I'm up next. I'm going to take the 2002 linebackers.
2002.
Pat Saint, Stephen Nicholas, and Kawika Mitchell are my selections there.
All right. Ryan.
Very good.
All right, so
but the last pick of this round.
Last pick of this round, we want to build out our backfield a little bit. We were a little bit jealous of Steeg being able to get Marlon Mack, Darius Tice, and Dearness Johnson in the same backfield. So what we're going to go and do is get Marlon Mack, Darius Tice, and Dearness Johnson in the same backfield with the 2015 running backs.
All right.
When it works, folks. When it works, it works.
If I may, I've made an error. And thankfully, this didn't result in anything. I actually want the 2005 running back or offensive line unit, not the 2004. Apologies on that one.
When you can get the fourth best offensive line in USF history as opposed to the fifth, you have to act quickly.
There we go. We'll change it for you. We'll give you this. All right, so real quick, guys, breakdown. We'll start with the first pick. Nate, I want you guys to kind of in order break down what your thought process was for this round.
2015, you see the GCO come to life. I think Matt Grothy and BJ Daniels both have a lot of success there. And then Tom fucking Allen.
Oh, the GOAT.
Steeg.
There was no method to this. I really liked watching Andre Hall's film from when I was doing my breakdown last year. I thought his offensive line blocked extremely well for him in the 2005 season. I do realize that you could probably get a fresher offensive line as well, someone a little bit more recent. But why not? Why not go for the older guys on this one?
You really
don't have to
liked
go out and play tomorrow, so you're good. Yeah.
you really liked number 69 center Nick Capogna, didn't you?
Correct. He was very nice. His blocking.
Caponia.
All right, Collin, another
Yes.
2002 selection for you.
So I got two really good NFL players that I can build around, and I think I'll be running the triangle read. I don't think that's any secret if you go with the LBs here. So I feel like that there is some opportunity and some upside here. So if you're going triangle, then you probably want no one better than Kawika Mitchell to be your Mike, which is an oversized and outsized portion of that defense. So I got two really good NFL players playing on the
Cheers
same
to Super Bowl champion Kawika Mitchell.
And yeah, absolutely.
All right, and then Ryan, rounding out went with the running backs to round out the round.
Yeah, we're just looking for athletes all over the field right now, and I think you get that with Quentin Flowers. You pair that with Marlon Mack, best running back in USF history, Dearness Johnson, Darius Tice. We have two rounds so far, and Team Ryan is overflowing with guys who can already rush for 1,000 yards. We don't know what to do with all of them.
All right, well, you got the first pick of the next round here, so why don't you go ahead and make your next selection?
All right. So I think with our next selection, we are going to go with what was possibly the singular most talented unit in USF history. We are going to get the 2009 defensive line, Jason Pierre-Paul, George Selvey, Terrell McClain, 3 NFL talents right there.
That's a good
All
pick,
right,
man.
Collin.
That's a great pick, Ryan.
Thank you.
Your reigning international bowl champions there. So I got like 3 different ways I can go here. I'm going to take the 2007 coaching staff.
All right. Steeg.
Well, I guess it's time that I need to get a quarterback of some sort. And
well, you
Are you
do
gonna
know
go
where
back
you're
to the-
taking
you're
one, so
gonna-
you got time.
yeah, I know you guys were clamoring over who I was going to select with my quarterback. It took a
I mean,
lot
you
of
can pretty much
thought.
wait till the end for that. Man.
Yeah, I probably could at this point. But we're going to segue into the more important part of what I needed to build my team around, because quarterback you can just plug and chug anyone into. I needed the 2014 coaching staff.
What?
The 2014 coaching staff.
I think I see where you're going here.
God
wanna
bless
remind
you.
I too was really looking
I just
to
want to
acquire
remind
Paul
you
Wolf.
here, Steeg, that you
Yeah.
just took Chuck Bresnahan as your defensive coordinator.
Chuck Bresnahan was not on the team at that time.
What, 14 he
Oh, he
wasn't?
very much was. Yeah, he very
He was.
much was.
Yeah.
No, he left.
No?
He was at UCF at the time.
No.
Nope,
He
that was
left
15.
it in 15. Left in 15.
Yeah, you just
Do you
took
It's all right.
need
Congrats on Breezy,
All right.
buddy. You have fun with
It's all
it.
right. We're building the team around the offense anyways.
Oh my God.
And that's why you took Paul
Yeah.
Wolf.
This will be interesting. All right, so Nathan.
All right. With my pick, I will take the unit that maybe rivals Ryan's best unit ever. I will take the 2007 DBs.
Great pick, Nate.
Great pick. They were on my board.
2007 DBs. All right, that's the end of the round. Let's kind of go through. I think we started with Ryan that round, so kind of explain the thought behind your pick. You went 2009 defensive line, correct?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of talented positions groups out there. That there are a lot of great DB groups that USF's had. There's a lot of great linebacker groups. I think there's only one stellar defensive line that USF has had. You could say maybe the 2007 with Selvey having his career year, but as far as NFL talent across the board, I don't think it gets much better than that. We had to make a move early and get them in.
All right, Collin, you went with the 2007 coaching staff.
Yeah, and the reason is that I really needed a couple of guys here that only kind of aligned in 1 year. Not super thrilled with the head coach, honestly. I'm giving up a little bit of head coach space because I'd rather have Willie. Actually, I might rather have Jeff Scott than any of them, but considering I'd rather have Willie. But for everyone else, Greg Gregory was an outstanding coach. Wally Burnham was the best defensive coordinator the team ever had. And I also get Larry Scott on that staff as well, not just as a recruiter, but as a tight ends coach. I think that's like elite and necessary. Dan McCarney went on to become a head coach as well. Troy Douglas had, some good years as well. And Carl Franks was the former head coach at Duke, who came down to coach running backs. So I got just guys who can really get after it, not only in recruiting, but on the field as well. And the systems that they ran, Gregory's system is maybe not as great a fit for my quarterback as, let's say a Rod Smith in 2006, but I really wanted Larry Scott. So I went with the 2007. And I also had to give up Greg Fry, who I think is a very good offensive line coach as well. But you got to make decisions. So that's where I went.
Steeg, explain yourself, please.
I went. In our draft kind of pool of a spreadsheet that we have, Chuck Bresnahan was not listed as the defensive coordinator. There was no one listed as the defensive coordinator. I had erred on the side of he probably was gone by that point. My timeline's a little foggy, but like I said, we're looking to build around the offense at this point. We're going to win championships by running the ball down people's throats and winning games 7-0 because we have the ball for 59 minutes and 36 seconds.
This raises the question, who is a better defensive coordinator, Chuck Bresnahan or an empty spreadsheet cell?
Ryan, I can tell you after personally working with Chuck Bresnahan, the empty spreadsheet cell, honestly.
Is the empty spreadsheet
that's what sold
on 3rd and 35, like rush 3 and drop 8 like every single time and give
absolutely
playing quarters?
But then again, we won't be playing defense because we're going to have the ball the entire time. It doesn't matter.
It makes a good argument.
Horrendous.
Nathan, you had the last pick. You in the 2007.
I think it's a no-brainer. Nate Allen, he is the for Collin, and Ryan, he's the Donovan McNabb pick. Trey Williams, Mike Jenkins, Jerome Murphy, Louis Gachette. The list goes on. Even Tyler Roberts had 20 tackles and 4 passes defended. I think, maybe outside of that 2009 defensive line, this is the most talented single unit in USF history, at least defensively. So it was an easy pick for me, especially with, can you imagine Tom Allen's 4.25 with that secondary? Sign me up.
So I'm going to defend Steeg here. In 2013, Bresnahan's defense gave up 28.6 points per game. In 2014, he brought that down to 27. So
it's the name of the game, my friends.
That wasn't the McNeese from the schedule. Now, it gets a little bit easier.
Since you have the numbers pulled up, Vito, what were the offensive numbers? Steeg, since Steeg is really he wants to run the ball, what were their rushing numbers in 2014?
Wasn't great, I'm not going to lie.
On the offensive side?
Not great.
Yeah. So.
On the offensive side, they scored 17.2 points per game.
Yeah.
But that was
also 17 on the dot. It was like
Steeg's team is what happens when Frankenstein doesn't come to life.
But let me explain it this way: 4.5 yards per attempt.
Okay.
It's college football. That's not good.
We're running the ball. Can
I just mention as an aside, because this is just such a huge, eye opener. So from 27 and 14, Tom Allen comes in, drops it to 22.9, and then the year afterwards, in 2016, it's 31.6.
Oh wait, excuse me, 5.4 yards per game. I'm a little bullied out right now.
All right.
So Nathan has the first pick of the next round. So Nathan, where are you going in this round?
So I need to get Matt and BJ some playmakers. I'm going to go with the 2016 wide receiver tight end unit.
I like it.
All right, Steve, you're up next.
Let me consult the
That was
board.
to you, Collin.
God, this spreadsheet, that first page that has everything is just massive right now. All right, ready. Well, after consulting the draft board and flipping a coin, we're going with the 2016 defense backs.
Wait, the ones that had like the historically bad defense?
Correct.
Okay.
It was obviously about coaching. It was the coaching staff in 2016.
It's the coaching staff that was the problem.
A coaching staff issue
That was their fault.
For sure.
We saw that. So
According to Steeg. All right, so Collin, you're up next.
Nate picked me. He had my next pick, but I'm going to go 1 year off. I'm going 2016 wide receivers.
He
I
took
get
2016.
D'Lo, MVS, my boy Tyree, Darnell Salomon is a breaker. Chris Barr is a speed guy who doesn't make plays. Rodney Adams I get a ton, so I'm taking it.
What year?
2016.
Nate took 2016.
I thought I'm sorry. My fault. I thought he took 17.
Nate took 16.
Okay, well then
Hell no.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do it. I'll take 17, even though I like it less, significantly less.
Right.
Yeah. I still get Salomon, McCants, and Scantling, and that's good enough for me. Yeah, I'll go 17.
Ryan?
Ooh, all right. We will go over to it's not quite the 2007 DB unit, but I think it's the next best thing on the board. The 2009 DB unit, still stacked with NFL talent. We have Nate Allen, Jerome Murphy, Mistral Raymond, and Kayvon Webster, all NFL guys, plus John Legist, one of the hardest hitters USF has seen.
All right, so
Skinny Raymond, let's go. Great pick.
Hey, you guys know where he's from? Palmetto, Florida. So Nathan had the first pick of that round, so let's go ahead and explain your pick there.
I think it's pretty, pretty self-explanatory. Rodney Adams out of the slot, Tyree McCants, MVS, and then your two tight ends are Mitch Wilcox and Elkanah Dillon. Both averaged over 22 yards a catch in the 2016 offense. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of points. I think D'Angelo Antoine's going to get a lot of run in my unit. Rasheem Bronson even had, God love him and all of his injuries, he still averaged 18 yards a catch that season. Alex Mutt, come on. I could not take him. My GPA is through the roof.
Alex Mutt was an exceptional high school route runner, by the way. I had to coach, or my brother coached against him. He was exceptional. Always open. Steeg, you're up. Explain your pick here? I believe you took the 2016 defensive backs.
I really like this unit, despite what the stats will say. We have a lot of naysayers in the crowd. I thought this was an exceptional group, given the circumstances. Obviously, it was a tough schedule throughout the entire year. I don't think stats told the whole story, and I think we saw that win the next year, or win the years before and the years after. So I think it was a safe pick to kind of have a good bolstered unit. I don't think anyone would have taken it by the time that I rolled around, but when it comes down to it, I liked them. Got to take them off the board.
All right, Collin, you went with the 2017 receivers. You kind of talked about it already, but kind of explain your rationale.
I got raw talent. I got speed. I got a burner. I have a guy who's an elite NFL guy. If he's not an elite guy, will be an elite guy in MVS, who's a do everything kind of receiver. And I need big targets for the type of offense that I'm going to run under Greg Gregory's system. So having some bigger guys and also some burners in Adams who can take the top off still, even though we're going to play a lot.
Adams was gone.
No, he wasn't on my roster.
Yeah, he was. Nope, on 2017 he was gone. He was in the league.
He's on the roster.
I don't think so.
He was on the roster. I repeat.
He wasn't 14, 15, 16, 17?
Yeah.
No, he was 14, 15, 16. We lost him after 16.
Oh, well. Well, then I misclicked something here. Yeah, I got a misclick. Bad job by me. I reserve the right to change, but I still pick up MVS and D'Lo and Tyree and Darnell Salomon. So that's enough raw talent to work with for the system that I'm going to be with. I wish I had a burner guy to take the top off a little bit more. I don't really have that. I guess RSF is a freshman maybe, but not great. But it doesn't matter. That less matters to me than having bigger targets that can catch the ball. And Tyree might only be listed at 5'11", but don't tell me that man's not a big target. So.
And then Ryan,
Collin, I will say this for you. MVS had a faster 40 than Rodney Adams at the combine.
Yeah, but Rodney had that wiggle to him that, jet sweep Rodney Adams was scary, terrifying. Pop pass Rodney Adams was scary, terrifying. So I'd really like to have him. I would trade him for Temi Alaka, that's for sure.
And Ryan, you went 2009 defensive backs?
Yeah, that's just a really loaded unit. I mean, anytime you have a unit on any USF team that has 4 guys who played in the NFL and not just got a cup of coffee in the NFL. I mean, Kayvon Webster's been around for at least a half decade in the NFL. Mitchell Raymond played a few years. Jerome Murphy played a few years. Nate Allen played a shocking amount of years. I mean, that's probably the most talented DB unit USF has ever had. Perhaps not the singular most productive when you look at the Williams and Jenkins secondaries, but I'll take it.
All right, well, you got the first pick of the next round. What are you going with?
I think we're going to go for the fabled Triple M linebacking core in 2007, the Mackenzie Moffitt Montpremier.
All right.
That's a good pick, man.
Yeah, it was. That was my second choice at LB. There's only one class left where I can get Marlon Mack and D'Ernest Johnson, so I will take 2014 running backs.
2014 running back. Steeg.
Let me consult my file real quick on something. I've got an off-the-ball pick. I know that's going to come as a shock.
Another one.
I know this is going to come as a shock. I very much like the 2002 defensive line.
That's a good pick, I think.
That's a really good pick.
No complaints from me.
Extremely underrated unit.
That's the first comment I've gotten on this draft so far.
We'll talk about some of the numbers afterwards, but those early 2000s defense numbers were in. All right, Nathan, you have the final pick here.
Is it my go now?
Yes, it is.
So with my with the last pick of the round, I am going to take the 2017 defensive line.
That's a good one. You got some guys there.
All right. All right, so Ryan, you went first in that round. You took the 2007 linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot to pick from when it comes to linebackers in USF. I mean, the Levitt teams were just absolutely stacked at linebacker. And you could make an argument for really any number. I think 2007 rose above the pack for me a little bit. You had Ben Moffitt playing absolutely out of his mind that season. You had Tyrone McKenzie, probably the most productive linebacker in USF history. And you had undoubtedly one of the best defenses in USF history.
All right, Collin, you were next. You took the 2014 backs.
I did. I do want to mention that Ryan. I know you were a youngin' back then, but that 2007. They couldn't cover in space. Tight ends just ran whenever they wanted.
Ben Moffitt was a little bit
youngin'.
slow,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
we don't hold that against him.
Yeah. So running back is a position where I feel like there's two options on the board. You can either go the Andre Hall or the non-Andre Hall. The problem with Andre Hall, if you take Andre Hall, you can get 1 year with Mike Ford as well. I believe that they cross over 1 year. They did not. Yeah, you can't do that. But it doesn't matter because the two best running backs I've ever seen at USF both played on the same team for 3 years. And they were Marlon Mack and D'Ernest Johnson. Totally different types of players, inside, outside. But they, as a unit, they were unbelievable. And if they had better guys blocking for them, they would have been ungodly good. So I got the third choice year of the three, but I had to get one of those 3 years because I thought they were amazing.
Steeg.
Many people will say I wasn't born in 2002 to know this unit. They're mostly right. I didn't know USF football existed in 2002. But regardless, the units. I mean, that early 2000s teams on defense were just filled with guys just absolutely decimating teams week in and week out. Kawhi Mitchell obviously being a linebacker on that team, but the rest of that defensive line was also just as good, if not probably better at getting tackles for loss, just pulverizing teams. Sharon Pearson just decimated teams as far as sacks go. So I felt like it was a good pick at the time. You know, I feel like they were probably one of the better defensive lines, kind of underrated throughout the country.
Vito, do you have the defensive numbers pulled up?
I do.
Because I think their sack and tackle for loss numbers were insane in 2002, weren't they?
2002, we have sacks 45, which is the highest in USF history. Turnovers at 36, which is the second most. Tackles for loss 148, which is by far the most in USF history.
And for reference,
the next closest is 119, which is 2003.
I think 2019 had 99, and they were up near the top of the country. Now that for most of the season, they had 99, and 2002 had 148. So,
and they get 18.5 points per game.
Keep in mind that team was tied at Oklahoma when Oklahoma was ranked 1, 2, something like that. They were tied at or down a field goal, something like that at halftime.
And I think they only played 11 games too.
They only played 11 games. They were 9-2. They finished at Houston, and then in front of like nobody because Houston was in their old stadium. Nobody was there. And then Jim Levitt, he would not talk about a bowl game. He would not talk about a bowl game. And then he got off the field and said, if this team doesn't go to a bowl game, it's tragedy. It was a tragedy because they needed East Carolina to beat Cincinnati. And if that had happened, they would have gone to the Hawaii Bowl because they hadn't joined Conference USA yet. So the next year they would have joined Conference USA. But the year before, Conference USA was going to have an open spot. They were going to give it to the team that was joining the league. They needed ECU to beat Cincinnati. ECU was up at halftime and lost. And if ECU had beaten Cincinnati, their first bowl game would have been the Hawaii Bowl, which would have been total justice because that 2002 team was unbelievable. I think they were 9-1-1 against the line. They were, and that was 2 years too, because the 2001 team was really good as well. So those 2 years, the schedule wasn't as tough. They were fantastic. And the other thing is that USF always say, they never finished in the top 25, never finished in the top 25. That 2002 team did finish 23rd in the BCS final standings. So they were a top 25 team. They just weren't a poll top 25 team because
I think people really
the coaches poll didn't have them. Yeah.
Right off the 2002 team when they talk about the best USF teams of all time. And I think there's an argument to be made purely, I wasn't around then, but purely based on the numbers. I mean, that team matches up pretty much with any other you can pick.
I say this scored 30.8 points per game.
Yeah,
I say this all the time that they get forgotten. It's kind of ridiculous how forgotten that team was.
So I think 30.8, that's super inflated by that Arkansas and the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arkansas blew them out, and then it was a one-score game against Oklahoma. They lost 31-14, and the 2 touchdowns were actually by Ronnie Banks comes in like relief in the fourth quarter and scores 2 TDs against Oklahoma's backups. But the defense was out of their mind that day. It was Kawika Mitchell's game against Oklahoma was probably the best game a USF linebacker has ever had.
All right. And then Nathan, you took was it the 2017 defensive line? Was your pick in the last round?
Yeah, I did. I think it makes sense. That 2017 defensive line was a force to be reckoned with. You have 3 guys who played in the NFL, and Dejan Sanad, who's a third rounder, Mike Love, and Bruce Hector. And then you also have the coming out party of Greg Reeves. That was a lot. That was a fun defensive line unit. And I think pairing that front four with the 2007 defensive backs with Tom Allen's system, good luck to y'all trying to score points against me.
All right, and you have the first pick of the next round. So what direction are you headed there?
See, this is a tough choice, Ray. I need offensive line. I need a running back. Still need to fill in those 2 linebacker spots. But I think I'm going to go with the 2009 running back unit.
Whoa.
No.
Get Mike Ford.
Yeah.
Get Mike Ford.
You're up.
All right, let me do a quick check real quick on something. Let me see something here.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord is right.
Oh boy. What's he up to now, folks?
All righty. Lo and behold, I don't know how they're still available. I would like the 2015 linebacker core.
That's a good one.
Ryan, I appreciate that.
Steeg's making a comeback.
Yeah. You got Augie.
I don't think that
Harris.
2015 unit could be fucked up by Chuck Bresnahan. Let me just say it that way. Yeah.
Oh, Lindsey, you get Lindsey Marr as a running back too.
All right, Collin.
I'm going to use my clock here because I'm between.
Good. I'm going to go get a White Claw, or excuse me, a Truly.
I am between 2 units, and I am trying to decide. And I have made my decision. I will take with the whatever pick this is. Yeah, this is tough, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the 2003 defensive line.
And so everyone's done on defensive line. Defensive line is through. Running backs are also. Everyone's done on running back. All right. So Ryan.
This is a tough one. We need to round out our offense with some weapons, and we're looking for one of the deepest wide receiver cores that USF has put out in terms of producing talent. Didn't get to show it too much because they spread the ball around back then, but in 2008, you have Carlton Mitchell, Jesse Hester, Taurus Johnson, and Dontavia Bogan, 2 NFL guys in there, 1 Jesse Hester, 1 Taurus Johnson, and Cedric Hill, one of the best tight ends in USF history. We like that.
Wait, Jesse Hester played in the league?
No, Bogan and Mitchell.
Okay, I was going to say.
All right, so Nathan, you had the first pick of that round. Can you kind of take us through your thought process there? I believe you took the 2009 backs.
2009, I need the 2009 backs. That gives me Mike Ford, Mo Plancher, both, solid backs. I think Mike Ford's clearly the talent here, but you also get true freshman Lindsey Lamar. I'm super excited to see what he'd be able to do in that 2015 GCO offense. I think he gets more than 40 touches. And I think with Mike missing those first 2 games in 2009, I think he gets more of those touches from Mo Plancher, and it's a better spread. And, that last great, Mike Ford season before it all falls apart. And then you get Demetrius Murray, Ryan's favorite running back ever, and then Jamar Taylor, Aston Samuels. I mean, there's some depth there that for what I can remember, Aston Samuels was kind of fast, so he may get more run in this offense than he did in 2009.
All right, Steve, you took the 2015 linebackers.
Yeah.
Give us your thought process.
So many people could probably think that the 2016 or 2017 linebacker core could possibly, been the pick here. But for me, I still really liked Tashawn Whitehurst. I thought he was pretty decent, and Zach Bullock also right next to him. But you still do get a young Nico Sautel and a recently converted Augie Sanchez on that team. So you have pretty good depth across the board when it comes to your linebacker core. I think it's a pretty good unit, not just for now, but to build on if we were going to, look to the future and really, build for success here.
All right, Collin, you're up next.
Yeah, I was splitting the difference here, but I think at the end it just made a lot more sense. So I'm picking up just on raw talent alone from 2003: Juju Forte, Ryan Giddens, Mike Love, and my centerpiece is Aaron Lynch, Kano Watson, R.I.P., Eric Lee. Just depth on depth on depth. Deadrin Snott and Bruce Hector. Like I got some dudes. Come at you in waves. Can definitely run 4x4 here. Just an A team and a B team and sub them all at the same time. But yeah, these guys are aggressive. They're aggressive in run game, and they fit what Wally Burnham wants to do. In a base 4-3 really, really well. So this was not a tough one. Actually, I was split between this and 2005, but it ended up being not even a decision. This one was easy. Getting Aaron Lynch was the key too.
All right, and Ryan,
I think you said 2003 earlier instead of 2003.
I did. I said I was split between this and 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have you down as 2003, so we can.
Yeah, what'd you take? Did you not take 2003? What'd you take?
2013.
I said 2013. Oh, my bad. Did I say 03? My fault. I meant 13.
You did.
Yeah, my bad. I meant 13.
I heard 03.
Yeah, I probably did, but I meant 13.
Oh. All right.
I'll take them too if you want to give me the.
I probably did it. My fault.
All right, then Ryan, you had the last pick of that round.
Yeah, it's a tough call with a couple of those wide receiver core. I mean, if you take the 2014 wide receiver core, for anyone who still needs a wide receiver core, I mean, you get Andre Davis and Rodney Adams, and that in and of itself is worthwhile. But we mentioned that we're drafting as it was. Andre Davis, great player. Rodney Adams, not really the Rodney Adams we would come to know by then. So I'm just trying to get Quentin Flowers as many weapons as possible, as many guys who can operate in space as possible. It's a little bit out of the, people's recent memories, but Carlton Mitchell, I mean, he was one of the best burners in USF history. I mean, the guy was absolutely electric. And then you're getting another NFL talent with Dontavia Bogan. You're getting Jesse Hester and Torres Johnson in your 3 and 4 wide receiver spots. Both of those guys were 1 and 2s in their time. And you get Cedric Hill, one of the best tight ends in USF history. I just think there's a lot of weapons there.
Yeah, you got some dudes.
And you are back up again for the first pick of this next round. What direction are you headed there?
So we're going to pick up our coaching staff here. And it is a tough one, but we got to go for the best defensive coordinator on the board. And that's absolutely Wally Burnham. So we'll take the 2008 coaching staff. We get Levitt. We get Greg Gregory running a little bit of a spread option for Flowers and Mack. And, of course, you get the Wally Burnham D.
I love Greg Gregory. His name's fantastic.
Yeah, I like your mix there with the Gregory offense and the skill guys that you got. 2 things, boys. 1, my boss is bugging me, so I got to hurry up here because I got to get something done. And 2, Waffle House just closed 365 locations across the country. If Waffle House is closed, we're all going to die.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. This one's tough. I'm going to take the 2006 DBs.
Okay. Steeg.
Alrighty. Well, I have my pick of what I'm trying to go for. Since no one has decided to pick a specialist at this point. But we need one now. Because, my God, I'm not letting the 2017 special teams unit walk away from my grasp right now.
All right. Nathan?
So I need, offensive line, linebacker, specialist. You know what? I'm going to take the group that helped protect Quentin Flowers and helped Marlon Mack run for thousands of yards. I'm going to take that 2016 offensive line.
All right. Okay, so that's the end of the round. You guys want to, since you got to go, you guys want to roll through the rest and then talk about the final teams after?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so Nathan, you're up again.
All right. So I'm up now. I'm going to take the 2000. Oh, God. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, I'm going to take the 2014 linebacker unit.
Okay. Steeg.
I have a question for you, Mr. Moderator.
Mhm.
Are we including fullbacks?
Absolutely.
And they should be included in backs.
In backs?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know if that was
Yards
being
quantity.
I didn't know if that was being included in the wide receiver tight end portion or the backs portion.
Or included in the backs portion. So you're
Okay.
already taking your backs.
Okay. Good. 2014. Wide receivers, tight ends.
Okay. Right, Collin.
Yeah, hold on. Hey.
Steeg still doesn't have a quarterback.
Oh,
He's pushing. He's being smart. He knows nobody else can take one. You know.
Yeah,
Now Grothy and Daniels are both off the table, right? Because of the 09
Right.
pick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
Technically,
the downside about
and
that.
Markwell Blackwell. None of those
Yeah.
three
Yes.
were the top of my draft board, so we're set.
Oh, I'm excited.
Congrats to my boy Bench. So we didn't put any stats in here about kicking or punting in the spreadsheet, which is killing me.
They're in their specialists. There should be some.
I see no numbers. Am I seeing it wrong?
You have to hit the
Gotta
little
press
plus
the
sign.
Pluses, yeah.
Whoa. Oh, my
Whoa.
B. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
1 second. Wait, the plus.
Welcome to
oh,
Google
I see how you
Sheets,
did
my
it.
friend.
Yeah, I don't use it like this though. All right, somebody.
I grouped them so it was easier to navigate. So you guys didn't have to scroll through 500 rows of information.
Yeah, hold on. I know what I'm. Okay, hold on. I gotta subtract. Okay, for some reason it's not refreshing for me. And hold on 1 second, because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I just need to find the best guy to go with what I want. And you don't have them for the early years. That's what I was looking for.
What do you?
Okay.
Videos.
Yeah, I was looking. I wanted Bill Grammatica, but I wanted.
We have 2001.
Yeah, I want no Bill. That's Santiago. I wanted his brother. Because Santiago Grammatica, besides hitting a 60-some yard field goal at Houlihan Stadium in 1998, but I forgot who the punter was on that team, and I was looking for the punter stats.
I think you're wanting. Oh wait, never mind.
I think you want 2002.
Yeah, I was about to say, I
Devin
think it's
Sanderson.
2002.
Yeah, no. If
Santiago
I go with
went 35
Santiago,
of
yeah,
40.
if I go with Santiago, I'm definitely going with the 02 team. But then you can also make the argument for Joey Knight's boy and and
I was about to say, I'm surprised you're not going with that one. If you want a specialist.
yeah. You know what? They misspelled his name on the trophy, and I'll never get over it. So I'm gonna go with the 2012 team. All right, Maikon, you were a stud. But Maikon Benani and Justin Brockhouse-Khan, who was an absolute stud that year.
Yeah, Brockhouse-Khan really
He was good.
Came up big that
He
year.
was so good, and plus the damn school at the awards at the end of the year, he was named like special teams contributor or like special teams MVP or something like that. And the goddamn school didn't even spell his name right on the trophy, and it was such a typical USF bullshit thing to do. So I'll go with Benani and JBK just out of respect, because JBK certainly deserved better than he got from the beloved alma mater. And it was his girlfriend, I think, who played on the softball team who tweeted out the picture of the trophy spelled wrong, and then she got in trouble too because that's how fucking USF rolls. I'm so mad. Can we fire Doug Willard again? All right, go ahead.
All right, Ryan, Ryan's up.
So I'm actually pretty surprised that we've gone through 2 rounds of specialists and we haven't picked for what my money were the most productive kicker-punter combo in USF history.
Oh,
when you had,
man, please don't take mine.
In 2014, you had Marvin, heard he's around Tampa and looking for a job and has experience kicking at Ray J, Kloss, and
Ever heard of him?
Matthias Chabadi. I mean, I'm a little surprised they dropped to me, but I'll take them.
Put some respect. It's Matthias.
I'm sorry. Apologies to Matthias.
Man, Ryan's building a Goliath right now.
Fuck you, Ryan.
That was definitely my other selection. The only thing I remember though is that, and this is no disrespect to Kloss, he hit 23-23 that year, but like, or the not for extra points, but then like 13-17 on field goals. And as I recall, some of those were like chip shots. I don't think he had like very many attempts outside of 45 yards.
Well, when you're scoring the only points on the team.
Yeah.
Wait. Kloss could make some absolute.
He could make some bombs. He did
shots.
make some bombs, but if my recollection was correct, that he wasn't.
He missed a couple bunnies that year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Ryan, you're back.
But I wanted to
again. I believe this is your last pick. I believe.
All right, so
quick question for the moderator. For specialists, are we also taking the field goal protection unit?
That's usually consists of your other players, so we'll say no.
Okay, thank God, because okay, no problem, because
I know exactly.
what
taking
now.
Okay,
Right.
good.
Ryan.
All right.
Ryan, yeah.
All right, so we're missing a O-line for our last spot, and we will go with the dawn of what was probably the best offensive line stretch in USF history under the Gulf Coast offense. We'll take the 2015 offensive line.
Oh, thank you. I was like, that was sitting there. That would have been like my number one pick. There's so many dudes there.
Collin,
Yeah, Brian, I
names.
really waffled. I really waffled between 2015 and 2016, but had to go 2016. Just I think that it fit my scheme a little bit better.
Right. I don't think you can go wrong with either. 2016 is a good pick.
Collin, you also need
All name team for 2015 for you though.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
And you got splits.
All right, Collin, final pick.
Oh, so it's offensive line.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to protect your quarterbacks.
To go old school or to go new school? I
Based
think
on
there's
recent
kind of
results, I'd go old school.
yeah. But the system that I want to run doesn't really fit. They're tough. This one's tough. I'm gonna go 07. Give me the 07 O-line.
All right.
It's close. It's really close. And I gotta hope they can lose some weight.
Well, luckily we have strength and conditioning draft up next. All right, Steve, you're up.
I know you guys have been clamoring at who I was going to select as my quarterback with the last pick.
This is really the pick of
I
the
hope
draft
it's Pat Jewell missed. I really do.
Should we go ahead and make Steeg the final pick of the?
Yeah, let's go and make me the final one because
All right,
y'all are gonna.
We'll let Nathan make his final pick here.
Nate, I traded.
All right.
There's been a trade.
Yep.
You got me a fresh.
So this says some consternation. I've been waffling. 02 specialists. I mean Santiago, but I was a kid, so I don't really remember the punting that much outside of the numbers.
Don't need to punt if you score a lot.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? God, this is tough, guys. This is really tough.
It was tough. I was stunned at how hard it was for me to do kickers.
Was it? Did Ryan get Marvin's Lou Groza year?
I did not.
13.
But remember, we have the rule on for specialists. So I have Marvin Kloss as an entity.
Right.
Oh, you do. Gotcha. Okay, so, geez, yeah, I'm gonna take 2002 Santiago Gramatica because 05 to Marvin is just a black hole. I was really hoping someone would go like funny and take the 07 kicking unit just for the heartburn, but yeah, I'll take 02.
Okay, and now the final pick of the TDS USF draft. Steeg is choosing his quarterback.
My entire draft strategy changed when we talked about injuries, which is why I have decided that the quarterback that I want to lead my offense to victory, running the ball a good 95% of the time, is the 2018 Blake Barnett.
I don't think it's that bad.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's best possible.
He's got the highest
there's
star
literally
rating
no one else.
of everybody.
You get the best.
Yeah,
He's the best left on the board. Yeah.
you get Chris O.
You get the whole
backing him up.
quarterback room too. So
Yeah.
And
You know what?
more importantly, because we're looking at all the stats as far as passing goes, I get 1-for-1 Tyree McCants at quarterback.
True.
Well,
For one play?
for one play, I want Tyree McCants to just
You get to
vomit
use
every
him
single
once
game.
throughout your season for any play you wish.
he
I
parachutes
remember-
down onto the field.
I remember in that bowl game, the 2017 Birmingham Bowl, that whole season was just so frustrating. And Tyree had been like one of the, he had just had that huge game against, I'm sorry, I'm getting my wires crossed. The 2018 bowl game, the Gasparilla Bowl against Marshall. And so that season had been 20 times more frustrating. And Tyree was one of the only guys who was still really putting up numbers. And that whole game, I was just saying, like jokingly, I was like, let Tyree McCants throw a pass. Let Tyree McCants throw a pass. Let him take snaps at quarterback. Out of nowhere, gave him like 3 snaps at quarterback. He threw a beautiful touchdown pass to Randall St. Felix. That was our guy.
Speaking of 2017
It was
Birmingham Bowl,
gorgeous.
fuck Texas Tech.
Can I point out one more time that the fact that Tyree McCants, and I don't know what he's doing right now, but the fact that he did not get a look in the XFL or AAF is a joke. That guy was so good, and I know his combine, his straightaway 40 speed isn't great and all that kind of stuff, but that guy's a football player. You put that guy on a field, he makes plays, and
he was
just one of
probably
those
Brings his
guys.
lunch pail. Every day.
Yeah. And he
But just like
brings his lunch
persona,
pail.
Ethos,
Yeah.
like one of the more lovable players in USF history, if not like
100%.
number one. Yeah.
Straight from even like down to like good on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
we all adore Tyree McCants.
yeah, and I just
Right.
wish somebody gave him a shot to play because don't tell me that there are better players in that league. That I mean, he's the best blocking wide receiver in school history. That's not a question.
Have you
So.
seen the Vipers receivers?
All right, so is this the final here? This is the final. If they want to see this, the final teams here.
That is everyone's final teams.
Okay.
I'm stunned. I only
Right.
got 2 from the 2002 team. Stunned.
So these are the final teams here. Let's go down. We'll start with Steeg here and just go down the line. Steeg, Nathan, Ryan, Collin. Which of these other teams? I guess first talk about your team, and then which of these other teams do you think would be most formidable?
Yeah,
I'll go first.
Talk about your team for.
Whoa, I'm going.
Oh wait,
first.
let Colin go first.
Yeah, Collin, go ahead.
I gotta go. So for me, I like my team. Marquell, with the weapons that he has now, can really do something. Marquell wasn't a super mobile quarterback, so I'm definitely running a pocket type system. I wish we had more of an air raid guy in school history, because I definitely would have matched up Marquell against. I think Marquell in like an air raid type system is just a dominant player. He had a huge arm. He was accurate, and he could take a hit in the pocket. And what do you always say about air raid quarterbacks? The problem is that they all get beat up. Marquell could really get popped and still like stand back in there. The weapons that he would have had would have been better than anything that he had. No disrespect to guys like Hugh Smith, but the ability to get some guys on the outside that with some speed and some burn, and then the run game that would have been left for him with Marlon and Durnest. It's over. Run play action off that, and have guys like Tyree as your check down, and then from my wide receivers over the top, over the middle. It's over. So I have a great offense, and then defensively, I get what I really wanted, which is Wally Burnham coaching a good defensive line that can get after the passer and smart linebackers. I've got 2 NFL DBs. I don't have the depth at DB that like the 2007 team had. It's still good, but it's not fantastic. I think I beat all of you. Sorry.
Of the remaining teams, who do you think would be most formidable in a game? Just glancing real quick, just a quick glance.
Ryan, just because of his first overall pick, has a massive edge here.
I would say I have a massive edge for other reasons too, but understood.
Yeah, sure. He has Quentin, Marlon, Durnest. Who are your wide receivers again?
Carlton Mitchell, Dontavia Bogan, Jesse Hester.
I actually don't like your wide receivers as much.
Torres Johnson.
Harsh.
Torres Johnson.
I do not like your wide receivers as much because I don't think you have a game break. Chill Mitchell was really good, but like the other guys there were good players, but you don't have like elite talent at wide receiver. But I don't think it matters because you're going to run spread anyway, and you're going to run the ball 70 to 80% of the time with what you got. So yeah, you're good there, and your defense is outstanding. So yeah, I think Ryan's got the best team besides mine.
No, all right, there. All right, so
I overcame Quentin, and I beat you in the simulator. All right, I gotta go.
All right, bye, Colin.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Colin.
He's a very busy man. The VP of athletics needs to go wine and dine.
That's right. All right, so let's go with we'll just go down the line now. Let's start with Steeg here. Steeg, explain yourself, and then you choose what do you think? Which other team you think might give you a tough game?
Well, I can tell you right now, this team is just going to dominate if they can get the ball first. The hope is that we win the coin toss. I'd give myself a 50-50 shot every single game. At that point, then we might be climbing uphill quite a bit. But ultimately, what inspired me on this team is I think a lot of questions. A lot of people are going to say, Rob, why did you draft these people? And to be frank, I don't know. The 2013 season that I was gracious to be the equipment manager of is inspired by this team. I wanted to pick basically, if I could go back in time and get the same coaching staff from the 2013-2014 season, and then put who I think would be the best quarterback in that system ready to go, and the best wide receivers and the best offensive line. This is the team that's going to just absolutely run the football so much that USF fans are just going to be clamoring to be seated in Raymond James. They just want to see the people run the football as much as possible.
I don't mean to be negative here, but you did not pick a single unit from 2013. But
I didn't want to choose the 2013 team.
Oh,
sorry.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I see.
Everyone but who I had to interact with in the 2013 season.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So who else do you think is pretty strong here?
No one. No, but honestly, Ryan. Ryan picked the two pinnacle eras of USF football. Looking at the draft board, he basically picked everyone who was good in the 2010s and everyone who was good in the 2000s. So he definitely had the pick of the Ryan there. I think he'll probably be the league leader this year. Appreciate it.
All right, Nathan, you're up next. Talk about your team and then what you think of some of the other teams.
Yeah. So I knew who I wanted to get early. Was able to do that. The coaching staff, it really came down to 2015 or 2016. And the one question was, does my love for Sean King override the assiness of Raymond Woody as defensive coordinator? And it does not. We find that out. So that 2015 staff is fantastic. David Reeves as QB coach, Dante Pilton as running backs coach. Those two are going to help mold Matt Grothy and BJ Daniels and as well as the running back group. I think Carl Franks was kind of asked as running backs coach 2007 to 9. So getting someone else in there who helped, Ryan's running backs get really, really good to help get Collin's running back really, really good. And, Steeg's, get the coach in there, I think is going to prove vital. My wide receivers and tight ends, I think I have the best ones on the board. O-line, I think I probably have the best O-line. And then my defense is, I think, pound for pound, one of the best defensive units put together that you can really have. But I mean, apart from that, I do think Ryan's team's really good. I think it'd be awesome to see, Ryan's team go up against mine, especially that quarterback matchup. I think it would be super interesting to see if, that my defense that I put together with that ball hawking secondary, see what they can do against Quentin Flowers. And I don't think his wide receivers are going to do much against my DBs, but it'll be fun to see. And that'd be an exciting matchup to see.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. Everyone seems to like your team. What do you think about them? And then kind of what other team do you think would give you some trouble possibly?
I'll flip it around a little bit and say that I really like what Nate put together. If I didn't have that first pick of Quentin Flowers, I definitely would have looked to that 2009 quarterback situation. You get Grothy and Daniels. You can do a lot of stuff with that. That's a fun unit. Defense looks really good there. I like what Collin put together. Steeg, you always kept me guessing with your picks, and I very much appreciated that. That said, I don't exactly know how I was able to basically get the Gulf Coast offense almost in its entirety and the 2007 to 2009 defense almost in its entirety and pair that with the best pair of specialists USF has seen. But somehow I was able to. I think we're pretty untouchable.
That seems to be the consensus. I do have a final. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Seth.
I have a couple questions for all you guys that's picking. Was there any thought to anything from last season? Any unit? Anything in particular?
DBs. If USF didn't have such a
DBs.
Great selection of, like 05, 06, the Trey Williams, Mike Jenkins were like, that gave you so many options, but like you can get Mike Hampton and KJ Sales. That's a good unit.
I had half the mind to, if Kobe didn't get injured, I'd have the mind to do the 2018 specials unit. I thought Trent was pretty good.
So you're not kicking a field goal over 40 yards?
Correct, yeah. Kobe is the only USF kicker in history that has a perfect field goal percentage in a season. Your specialist fact of the day.
Also, pretty incredible punter, though.
My next question for you guys would be, if we had the same rule for coaching staffs that we did for quarterback, so once you pick one head coach, you can't pick his staff anymore. Where would you guys have gone other than what you picked?
I wouldn't have gotten Trent Bresnahan.
So let's say your staff was taken. Where would you have gone?
I'll say I actually had lower on the staff list. It seems odd in retrospect, but when you look at it still seems odd in now spect too. But the 2011 staff, Skip Holtz, who unfortunately has acquitted himself quite well as a head coach outside of USF. You have Todd Fitch, who Jamie put it perfectly. I defend Todd Fitch to a point, and that point is the 20-yard line. And you get Mark Snyder, actually very good. And that's actually a pretty solid. I mean, they put together a good offense and a good defense that year. The only problem was that they went absolutely haywire in the last 2 minutes of every game. So that would have been where I was going, but it seemed like a little bit too much of a live wire to touch. I wanted to stay away from that if I could.
Nathan, what about you? If you couldn't have gone with the staff you picked, or let's say the staffs that had been picked. So if you couldn't have gone with a Taggart or a Levitt staff, where would you have gone?
Man, I mean, if are we just simming here, or are we taking in personalities uh and whatnot?
Really, I'll just think about you have your roster and just the scheme. Basically, you don't really have to think about personalities for this. It'd be like we're playing NCAA or something with these teams. The players you got,
Personality. Okay. 2019. I think Kerwin Bell's offense with a senior quarterback who can kind of move the ball around. BJM with that defense again. I think that's the wide receivers take a hit because Charlie Williams is ass. But I mean, we've survived worse.
I actually thought about that too. That was another live wire that I was a little bit nervous to touch, but I think with Kerwin and BJM, you get two good coordinators.
That's one. That's kind of my thought. Was I was wondering if anybody would pick them. Now it may be different exercise if you had to be limited to maybe one choice per. If we did it like that, it may include some other things. Steve, what did you think?
So I mean, hindsight's 2020. Chuck Bresnahan is probably the worst coach in USF full history. And I could have sworn he was gone by the end of the year that I was working with the team. So,
well, you can cut him and pick somebody up right now off the waiver wire if you'd rather.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably gone like very early 2000s. I like 2001 or 2002 coaching staff. Someone from that, someone where the era kind of fit the scheme that I'm trying to run a little bit better. For my interactions with Paul Wolf, I know he's a very, very, very good kind of West Coast run the ball style head coach or offense coordinator. So that's where I kind of really liked him. So if I could have picked and choose, I would have kept him and Willie, but then kind of scrapped defense for the most part.
Yeah, I was interested to see kind of with last year's group, even on the defensive side of the ball, I thought with some different units from the past, they may have been able to do some really good stuff. Because they did some creative stuff on defense. They just, for whatever reason, they struggled with tempo and things like that. But and since the recruiting's not involved, I was wondering if anybody would go with last year's staff or anything from last year. But it doesn't seem like that was going to happen. So if we go back and look here, we can see there were no picks from 2001, no picks from 2003, 2004. No picks from 2010 or 11, and then no picks from 2019. Does that track with you guys for how those teams performed?
Yeah, I think 04 was the first losing season. 10, I think 10 you probably would have gotten BJ at quarterback, but since 09 you can get BJ at Grothy, I think that's where you go there. The backs and wide receivers were kind of cheeks over there. Maybe the defensive linebackers in 2010. 11 was terrible, and then 19 was terrible. So yeah, it kind of tracks with what we did. Ryan, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think so. The only unit that jumps out, which you mentioned, that wasn't selected at all was the 2010 linebackers or DBs. You have Jaquan Williams, D.D. Lattimore, Sam Barrington, Skinny Raymond. You got a lot of players there, but it's tough when you have those, late Big East year Levitt defenses. It's tough to go too far away from that.
Right.
And then doing this exercise, we kind of got to go through a lot of compile a lot of old stats and things like that. And there's some stuff that I thought was kind of interesting, even with some of the better teams. So you can kind of go through here and see we have passing yards per game, passing yards per attempt, passing touchdowns, rushing yards per game, rushing yards per attempt, rushing touchdowns. And then just to try to get some measure for the offensive line, along with rushing yards, you have sacks allowed on the season, and then the turnovers, and then obviously points per game, because scoring points is the most important thing. I thought it was interesting to see how some of the more successful seasons, especially earlier on, you had some high turnover numbers. To that 2017 at 32 turnovers. I thought that was, and they still scored 34 points a game, 34.7 points a game. There's
I
some
think
interesting
half of
kind
them came in
things
that Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
And then the 2016-2017 teams did not turn the ball over hardly at all, and they did not allow very many sacks. So those, I thought the 2016 offensive line was going to be the one that would come off the board really quickly and end up going later. But only 15 sacks given up and 6.5 yards a rush and 47 rushing touchdowns was just kind of insane to go back and see as you're going through here. And
Yeah, it was a good unit.
2015.
Glad I got him.
Yeah. And so does anything kind of jump out to you guys if you're looking at these stats on the offensive side of the ball kind of through from 2001 till now? Anything that was kind of odd to you or kind of anything that kind of jumps out?
How horrifying that 2013 offense was. I mean, I don't forget it, but I forget exactly how horrifying. I mean, they had 4 rushing touchdowns all year. I mean, goodness. That is something else.
Seven passes.
And Ryan, remember, one of them was the first play of the season.
That's a great point. I mean, we lived through it, and I remember how bad it was. But goodness, it just when you look at that, you're like, oh my god.
It was crazy just
how
bad firing Skip Holtz. You know that's you bring in Willie Taggart, and then you just get immensely worse. Just like as a perspective standpoint, and it's just looking at those stats, even jumping from 20 points per game to 13. It was horrifying.
Look, we've gone through some rough times the last couple seasons, and hopefully we're not going to go too much further down. But I really hope we never have to experience anything like 2013 again. I mean, those first few games of the season, you just would watch that team, and you knew that within a quarter the game was going to be over.
When the team went over 17 points,
right.
That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that just kind of going through that 2012 to 2014 stretch was like I almost stopped just putting the stats up. I can't believe you guys watched all these games. It was awful.
No, we didn't.
13.8 and 17.2. As bad as last year was, they were a touchdown better than the 2013 offense, which is insane.
My favorite part about that too is that is very heavily skewed on that Cincinnati game where we had 2 defensive touchdowns and 4 field goals and won the game.
There are 2 wins that season.
Yeah,
0 offensive touchdowns in those 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the number is 11 or 11. Is there 11 offensive touchdowns for the entire season? That's less than 1 a game, right?
And
they're
even though
games at this point.
Even though 13 was still
that
bad.
2016.
In 2016, you had 47 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, 2 different worlds.
So I thought that was kind of wild just to see. And then the early offenses were pretty good. They kind of, I think 2001 was the first 1A season, right?
Right. So you had Marquell Blackwell, I think 01, 02. Yeah. So those were that's why you see the huge skew in offensive numbers there. Because he's arguably one of the best QBs.
Yeah, there was definite gulf of quarterback play. There, you can see the seasons where it's like just like a Sahara.
You really see how much Andre Hall meant to those 04-05 teams when you look at the quarterback play. I mean, you think of those 04-05 teams.
Right.
I mean, 04 team you don't think of much at all, but 05 team you think of stingy defense. You think of the wild game against Louisville and Amari Jackson throwing for a touchdown, run for a touchdown, and you just forget that team without Andre Hall they had nothing on offense.
Yeah, they had 203 yards rushing a game, which was tops for a long time until 15, 16, 17 kind of blew it all out of the water.
Right.
On the defensive side of the ball, I thought it was the early years again were insane.
I had no idea how good those were, honestly. I really did not.
I was shocked. I thought they were all typos, and then I kind of go through. I was like, okay. But 148 tackles for loss in 2002, 118 tackles for loss in 2001. And then I think they either quarterback hits or quarterback hurries was the stat they had in the media guides or wherever kind of I pulled the stats from straight from USF. And those numbers are nuts. It's like 65 quarterback hits or quarterback hurries, 65 pass breakups, 36 turnovers caused, I think it was 22 in 2002. It was 22 interceptions and 14 fumbles recovered, I believe. 45 sacks.
2.3 yards rushing. I mean, I'm 2.3 yards per attempt rushing. I mean, that is something else.
86 yards a game rushing. It was wild. Yeah. And then going through and seeing like one of the big outliers, kind of the 2016 passing defense. I think somebody may have picked the defensive backs from that year.
No, I picked them.
They gave up 285 yards a game. Pass.
Yeah,
I don't know. And now you guys, was that a schematic thing?
That was a coordinator for 1 year that had to be a late ad in January, and let me tell you what a trip that was. 31.6 points per game given up, as it's almost 10 full points.
I will say, because Raymond Woody was so awful, we got to see peak Gulf Coast offense because they had to keep scoring.
It's just brutal though, because if that defense, which had the players, they absolutely had the players, and if that defense was even bad, they win the conference going away. I mean, they just had to get to bad, but instead they were just absolutely horrendous.
They need to make some sort of adjustment versus Temple. That was it. It was like you lose the wrong game.
You can see the jump they made from that year to Strong's first year. And, Strong, I think we can all agree, obviously didn't do a very good job and did not recruit very well. But he definitely brought in probably a better defense coordinator than it had, right? So just seeing the jump in the numbers from 17 to 18, or from 16 to 17 was kind of interesting. Seeing you're giving up 50 yards passing less a game, 70 yards less rushing a game, 8 less points a game, just from going from 1 year to the next. It's kind of interesting to track. Your tackles for loss went way up. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is the turnovers went down, actually. Because some of that is randomness. Some turnovers are random, but it was interesting to kind of go back and see, especially early on, how good some of those teams were.
Yeah, I thought it would just be fun to just put that team in there. Like, that was basically it. I thought it'd be fun. Like, we all knew that team was good, or that defensive unit was good, just from the years after. But I just thought it'd be funny to pick that team.
Tell you what, can you look at 2018? Sure. Can you look at 2018, 32 points per game? Would you have guessed that they started 7-0?
Yeah, that's wild.
Wild times.
If you showed me the schedule, yes.
That's very true.
All right, so that wraps it up for the USF Historical Draft. I want to say a special thank you to Seth Varnadore for setting it up, pulling all the numbers, putting it into these Excel spreadsheets, making our lives infinitely more simple. Your scouting department does all the hard work, and us suits get all the credit. But it was a hell of a job by Seth, and I truly appreciate it. Vito, to quote Collin, just cut this shit together and make something of it. It's going to be a lot of fun to see, the fan reaction to the teams. I think Ryan and I definitely have the best teams, and then Collin's third, and then Steeg, you're behind the 2019 team somehow. But
just here we are. Look at his tie right now. That's all you need to see. That's all you need to see. Just look at it. Look at the
Kelvin Sampson it.
I'm Kelvin Sampsoning myself right now.
But I appreciate everyone hopping on and doing this exercise, and stay safe, wash your hands. Social distancing is a real thing. My aunt over in England has coronavirus, and she's been self-isolating for the last 6 days. Hope she gets better, but guys, the only way to flatten the curve is wash your hands, stay away from each other, and go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.